In this video, we're going to be looking at solving the triangle. So what does that mean? Solving the triangle means finding all unknown sides and angles. So we're going to find all of missing sides that we do not know and all the missing angle measurements that we do not know, so that we have all of the measurements of the triangle. And we're going to be using a calculator to do this. However, there's something important that we need to do. When we're using a calculator, you can use Desmos.com like I have on the left-hand side here. We have to make sure it's in degree mode. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. To do that, you're going to hit the wrench on the top right corner. Right now you see radians is selected. I'm going to click on degrees. That's super important. If you forget to do that, your answers will be incorrect. It will show a different number than what is meant to be. And then another thing that we have to remember is that the two acute angles in a right triangle, so the two angles other than the right angle, add to 90 degrees. Okay, so let's go through this first one. I want to solve triangle ABC. So I have one side measurement. I have this 15. And I have my one angle. So I'm going to first find my missing angle. I'm going to find angle B. I know that angles A and B add up to 90. So that means to find B, I can just do 90 minus 28. And when I do that, I get that B is equal to 62 degrees. So we have the one measurement. Now I need to find sides A and C. So to do that, I need to use my trig functions. Here I'm given the angle 28. So I want to go ahead and first label what my different sides are. I know the side opposite of my angle is my opposite side. The side opposite of my right angle is my hypotenuse. And the side adjacent to my angle is my adjacent. So there are several different ways that you can go about doing this. First thing I noticed is I could go ahead and do tangent of 28. So I can remember SOHCAHTOA again. SOHCAHTOA. Since I'm given my adjacent angle, I automatically know I need to use cosine or tangent because I don't know my opposite and hypotenuse, so I can't use sine to figure anything out. I'm going to go ahead and use tangent since the adjacent is in the denominator. So doing that, I have tangent of 28 is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tangent of 28 is equal to my opposite side, which is A, over my adjacent side, which is 15. And now I need to solve this for A. So to solve this for A, I'm just going to multiply by 15 on both sides. So I have that 15 times tangent of 28 is equal to A. And so here is where we're going to be using our calculator. So I'm just going to type in 15 times, and then you can go to functions and hit tangent of 28. And when I do that, I see rounding to the nearest hundredth that A is approximately 7.98. So I have A. Now I need to figure out my hypotenuse. So there are a couple of different ways that you could do this. One, if you want the adjacent to still be in the denominator, you can use secant. And I'll show a different way after this. So let's go ahead and do secant. So I have secant of 28 is equal to hypotenuse over adjacent. Because remember, we're trying to find our hypotenuse now. So I have secant of 28 is equal to hypotenuse, which is C, over adjacent, which is 15. Then multiplying by 15 on both sides, I have that 15 times secant of 28 is equal to C. And then remember that secant is really the reciprocal of cosine. And so I can replace the secant of 28 with 15 times 1 over cosine of 28. And so I have 15 times cosine, or divided by cosine of 28 is equal to c. And so doing that, I have 15 divided by cosine of 28. And so I get that c is approximately 16.99. So that's one way you can do it. Your calculator also does know what secant is. You see that is one of the functions, so we could have just gone straight to doing that. So that is one way you can do it. With the next problem, I'll show a different way if we don't have our known measurement in the denominator. So here I have a triangle ABC. I'm given angle B, so I'm missing the angle measurement for angle A. So I have A is going to equal to 90 minus B, so 90 minus 71. And so I get that A is going to equal to 19 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and label my different sides. So I know the side opposite of my right angle is my hypotenuse. And the side opposite of my given angle 71 is my opposite side. So that leaves A being my adjacent. So here the known angle measurement, or the side measurement, is hypotenuse. So I'm going to go ahead and pick either one where hypotenuse is in the denominator. And so I can do sine. And so I have sine of 71 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of 71 is equal to my opposite side, which is B, over my hypotenuse, which is 5. And I want to solve for B, so I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. And so I get that 5 times sine of 71 is equal to B. And so going to my calculator over here, I have 5 times functions sine of 71 is going to equal to approximately 4.73. And so this one actually with hypotenuse, it makes it a little bit easier. I can go ahead and just use cosine because hypotenuse is also in the denominator there, just to make it a little bit easier to solve. And so I have cosine of 71 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, since we're missing our adjacent side now. So I have cosine of 71 is equal to A over my hypotenuse, which is 5. So multiplying by 5 on both sides, I get 5 times cosine of 71 is equal to A. And so putting that into my calculator, I have 5 times cosine of 71, and I get that A is approximately 1.63. So back on the first problem, I want to go ahead and show a different way that we could have done this where adjacent wasn't in the denominator. And so we were trying to find our hypotenuse here. And so another way I could have done it was doing the cosine of 28. So let's go ahead and look at that. So I have cosine of 28 is going to equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. My adjacent is 15, so I'd have 15 over C. So here it's a little bit different. I have my 15 on top, so I can't just multiply 15 on both sides to get what my C value is. So I would instead want to cross multiply. So I do C times cosine of 28 is equal to 1 times 15. So in other words, C is equal to 15 divided by cosine of 28, which is exactly what we have over here. So either way, you'll end up at that same answer.